Nickel 9. C5 Let's go. Put that old school. Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's good with it, everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. And like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. I came across this video. Actually, somebody shot it to me on my Instagram. It was a shooting victim, and she was posting herself all over the hospital, thinking it's hella cool to get shot and brag about it, and while her mama right there all stressed out. And then she said, the caption said that she was shot in the midst of Rome and Baby J, Norteños, and 14 with the red stop sign, that they died. So I did a little digging. You know, I couldn't reach out to nobody in Sacramento to get the inside scoop, but I'm going to just give you my perspective on what I've read so far and what I've heard so far all over social media, and give you guys my perspective on the situation of some young Norteños getting gunned down at a Halloween party. So let's get into the video. Across the screen, you're going to see two rappers rapping. You know, I have to mute the video because, you know, for YouTube purposes. But I listened to their verses. I haven't heard none of their songs, but I did see them come up on Shimo Media. I did also see him rapping with this guy right here, Gunna 6. And he's been trending. He makes a lot of music videos, a lot of diss tracks to the Star members. He disrespected Briss from Sacramento. He disrespected, you know, Jody Woe from Sacramento. Two rappers that are dead, that passed away behind gun violence. Now, we're talking about Sacramento here. For one, Sacramento in general, so many gangs, so many new generational gangs. After the Mozzie and Stars war was going on, now you got new wars going on. That city's known for gang wars. It's always going to be known for gang wars. There's a lot of beautiful things about that city. I recently seen a video footage, and I'm going to blur it out right here. I was recording on a balcony, a shooting in Old Sac, and down in Old Sac. Dude, the gunfire is crazy, super crazy. 2 people died, 4 other people got injured, and 2 suspects got busted for this shooting. It was a gang-related shooting amongst 2 different cliques, and did it right there. I wouldn't say broad daylight, I'll say broad nightlight. You know, it's in front of everybody, people walking at nighttime, and they just start gunning it out, shooting back and forth. 2 people died in that occasion. When it comes to Sacramento, you know, like I said, I listen to a lot of Sacramento music. Kind of sounds the same. It doesn't sound like the era of X-Rated, Looney Coleon, Sebo, Brother Lynch, and the people I grew up off of. But, you know, all Sacramento music now is all gang-related music, thugged-out music. So it's a big influence. You know, gang rap is big. Gang rap has been very influential when it comes to upcoming artists and upcoming young kids, whether they're black, whether they're brown, whether they're northerners, whether they're just regular Damus, whether regular just Mexicans growing up in the cities of Sacramento. Everybody's getting involved in some type of gang politics. That's the new norm. So when it comes to these young kids, a lot of people identify them being from Rockland, but other YouTubers have identified them being from East Sac and North Sac. I'm just very familiar that there are young Norteños, as you can see across the picture and across the screen. Young Norteños that grew up in the streets of Sacramento. And we all know with last year, a lot of the recent videos of Norteños putting out Sacramento music videos talking about Norteños shouldn't be involved in other people's politics. A Norteño rapper named Young Seco has been stating it all over his music videos, all over his Instagram, like Norteños need to stop getting involved in other people's politics, because it's starting to instigate red on red when you side up with a black gang or side up with another street gang and they have beef with Northerners, but you mess with them. Well, I'm going to go beef with these Northerners too. Making red on red come back to life in Sacramento, even though it's been a big thing in Sacramento. Doing a little bit of research, I wasn't able to identify what actual neighborhoods these kids were coming up from. A lot of people just identified them as Norteño rappers. One was young, one was older, one was underage, and they died. There was 3 shootings that occurred that night in Sacramento. This was one of them in the Woodland Apartments, and they got gunned down at a Halloween party. And what's crazy, if you listen to some of their lyrics, these guys are always talking about up it up with me, you know, just bring the banger. I'm going to slide with this pole. I'm going to slide with that pole. They go to a Halloween party without a pole, and they got gunned down. And the narrative all over YouTube that I've been seeing in the comment sections, because I assumed they were beefing with, you know, Star gang members, because on this post right here, he's posting himself and the song in the background of a specific song where they're dissing Star members, they're dissing Briss, they're dissing Jody. So that caught a lot of So that caused a lot of friction and a lot of attraction with a lot of people from Sacramento that disagreed that he's over here dissing, two people that are beloved in that city for their rap game and where they're from. This rapper right here drops this song and disses a lot of people in that track. A lot of people that are liked and, like I said, loved and belong to certain street gangs. Obviously, you know what that's going to cause. It's going to cause a lot of people to get mad. It's going to cause a lot of people to actually, pull up, slide on people. Whatever these gang terminologies that people use, they're quick to do it in a diss song. They're quick to make it in a song. And I think that's the initial step nowadays. If you want to beef with somebody, let's make a song about it. Let's make a music video about it. And it'll instigate the situation where eventually you're going to have to see it in the streets. You're going to have to meet up with that beef in the streets, and people are going to gun it out and shoot it out with each other. We live in a crazy world where that's what it takes. Street beef goes into a music video. A music video is going to cause a lot of people to get gunned down. That seems to be the necessary approach and the aftermath of what takes place when you do a diss track. So like I said, I don't know why these Norteños got gunned down. It could be many reasons. But in the comment section, like I said, I was looking for a narrative. But I kept seeing a lot of Norteños with like either just regular dudes with Norteño profiles as their username. And a lot of different platforms that I'm familiar with on Instagram have their little emblem right there, their little logo, speaking about it. Multiple people in the comment section were saying it was red on red, that Norteños gunned down these Norteños for whatever reason. Some people just said Sacramento politics are getting wild, they're getting crazy, that all these dudes talk about guns, drugs, sliding, killing, just gang violence. And then when it happens to them, everybody wants to cry about it and feel sad about it. That's true in a sense. You guys are gonna rap these lyrics and promote this kind of gang violence to be on a tough man complex for fortune and fame, just to go a little bit viral, just to be talked about, just to be noticed. Being noticed like that, it's only gonna bring you negative energy. That's all it is. Because whether or not these guys were instigating situations and really disrespecting people, really out there, starting some beef and starting some funk and actually bringing that kind of drama to their lives, none of that matters to me. Even though I try to do the research and do the investigative journalism aspect for you guys to get a cool story for you guys, I could have really just posted it on my Instagram like anybody from SAC, tap in, let's talk about this story. I didn't. I just see two young kids that look like me when I was younger. Not that long hair per se, but I remember when I was that young, but I wasn't beefing with Northerners like that, or I wasn't beefing with blacks like that. My era was strictly Southerners, but that same aspect could have happened to me. I could have been out there bumping GUN, cruising the streets, throwing up a 1-4 out of a car. Anytime I seen a dude wearing blue with a bald head, I could have threw a 1-4 at him, gangbang, threw up STL, threw up Norte, and see what happens. There's a lot of Southsiders in my town back in the day, and there's still some there now. There's a lot of Southsiders in Tulare County. They're far more deeper than they were back then with my generation that were with the business. Hell, there was a Southsider from Southside Kings in Tulare County who killed two Northerners. One of them, the case is unresolved, but they blamed it on him. He was from Southside Kings, and he paroled from YA, became like an older homie to his hood, was gunning fools down. He had a gray Regal. Where he lived at in Birdland, he lived in the middle of a Norteño neighborhood. And guess what? His dad was a big homie. He was a Norteño. He was a Norteño of status of like an older generation. He wasn't really functioning around that time when his son was out there politicking and gangbanging on Northerners. But his dad was a Norteño. His son became a Southside King Sureño gang member, and he killed two Norteños. That's how raw that dude was, and that's how bad it was when it came to Norteños and Sureños beefing with one another. There's stories like that. Can't remember his name. I think he went by Sniper or something else, bro. I'm pretty sure it was Sniper. I'd have to look into it a little bit more. But anyways, that was my generation. The same thing that happened to these kids about making rap songs, about killing this and dissing them and dissing them. My generation, we were dissing Southerners left and right. We were going to the indoor swap meet, breaking Southerner CDs and leaving it there because we knew Southerners lived there. We go tag on a Southerner's house, put big old XIV, Norte, STL, Westside, Norteño gangsters, just to piss them off, just to instigate situations. You're going to instigate situations where people will retaliate. That's what I'm saying. This kind of like notoriety, doing a diss song, going on a platform like Shimo Media or whatever Northerner podcast they have up there to display their talent and their lyricism and make a song. Everybody's watching. It's social media. It's YouTube content. Instagram's public. Somebody's right there lurking. Somebody's right there watching. You give your enemies a hell of a lot more legitimate reasons to sit there and pay attention and watch. Whether they're Southerners or whether they're black politics like Sacramento, somebody's watching, or somebody's watching and they're going to shoot it to somebody that knows is going to get mad about it. It's going to instigate a situation. It's going to pick up a banger, and they're going to go out there in the streets and really live that street life that you're rapping about. Now, I'm just saying if, like I said, I seen like maybe 10, 12 comments that it was red on red. I don't know if it was red on red. I'm just saying if it was red on red, I'm pretty sure 2 suspects got apprehended for this murder case. And if it is red on red, somebody's going to answer for it. Not only are you going to do a lot of jail time for 2 murders, for whatever that murder was, for whatever reason you decided to murder these 2 young kids, Nortenos or not. I was just that young. That could have happened to me. That could happen to this new generation that I'm trying to reach out to and speak to. It's that easy. These dudes barely started rapping. These dudes barely started coming up. These dudes barely started making a name. Bam, both of them dead. Gunned down in some apartment complexes. That could be this new generation's next trending topic. Is that young Norteños, young Sureños, young Mexicanos coming up, say 1 or 2 things, make 1 or 2 diss tracks, post 1 or 2 things, and somebody out there on the streets is going to gun them down for it. Because the more I looked into this video, man, there's like, it's connections on connections of stories of, these dudes slid on these dudes, shot this dude, stood over him, gunned him down in the face multiple times. Some dude named Alex and then some other dude named Minnie. I couldn't even put the story together, so I just let it be. They're saying there's a lot of scenarios and a lot of situations that led up into this point where these 2 young kids got down. But some people are also saying that it's irrelevant, that it was just red on red. They were beefing with somebody on the streets. They all ended up at the same party, and the shootout just happened, and these kids were lacking without pistols and died for it. A lot of people made fun of them in the comment section. These dudes, all they did was rap about wanting smoke, up in the pole, gunning fools down, sliding on their ops, come bring it. And when it was brought to them, they didn't have nothing. They were just young kids at a party, at a Halloween party, having a good time, and they died for it. And that's my message with this video, and that's always going to be a continuance of my message with these videos to this newer generation that's actually watching me. Because a lot of people assume that it's older generation. A lot of people assume that these kids ain't watching. Trust me when I tell you, I've talked to a lot of 18, 19-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 20-year-old kids that be like, man, I watch your videos, man, I understand what you're saying. And if you understand what I'm saying, hopefully you make the better decision and not make the irrational decision or ignorant decision that I made to say, hey, man, it's cool to be a thug. It's cool to wear a red rag and throw up a 1-4. It's cool to bump Norteño music out loud in your house in front of everybody or post a picture with Norteño music on the captions. Somebody's going to pay attention to that. That's what makes it so easy to get people killed or people gunning people down by locations, by Instagram posts, by social media posts. Because not only are your enemies watching, your enemies' associates are watching that are befriending you, following you, thinking you think they cool with you. They just lurking and seeing everything that you're doing. These kids might have posted that they were at that Halloween party, and that's all it took for somebody to say, well, I'm going to show up there. Trust me when I tell you, I said it a long time, the Norteño cause and the term Norteño, the identity of a Norteño is not going nowhere because these big homies don't want it to leave. They don't want it to go nowhere. It's benefiting them in the long run. So we're going to see a lot of little active young Norteños like these 2 kids come up generation after generation after generation. Being this young and being gunned down this young, because today's generation, everybody's going to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be a rapper. And the best way to come up as being a rapper is rapping about gang politics, prison politics, street politics, and gun violence. Gang wars and gang violence is the biggest popularity that's going all over social media. Some of these kids don't even have a reason to gangbang, but they'll gangbang because of the area they grew up in. And it's a cliche thing to say, the product of my environment, but whatever these kids' decisions was to come up as young Norteños and become rappers, they got gunned down for it. And these are the young kids I'm hopefully praying that I'm trying to reach one day and say, bro, trust me, you don't need to throw up that rag. You don't need to throw up that 1-4. You don't need to be part of a gang to be somebody. It's just this new generation and the generations of my generation, the generations before me taught us for a very long time, becoming a gang member, becoming a politician, becoming a big homie, becoming a street gang member. It's where it's at. It's the new trend. It's what's going. It's what's popular. It's part of our lifestyle. It's part of our culture. It's part of our neighborhood. It's part of our city's, history. Coming up in this world, we got to be gang members. And hopefully some of us like myself can break that cycle and stop these kids from really thinking that you have to be a gang member and a gangster rapper to really come up and do something with yourself. If it's just me doing it, hell, it's a start. But these young kids passed away. My condolences to the family for whatever reason that they died for. No mother, no father, no parent, no loved one wants to bury these kids at this young age. At this young age. These kids, one of them was underage and the other one was like 21, 22. They didn't even get to experience life yet. And that's a very sad tragedy. So with that being said, like I always say, is one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.